Hey folks, Matthew Weiss here, Weiss-Sound.com and WeissAdvice.com. We are launching this coming Friday, October 1st. I think that's Friday. I am really excited about what we are doing. Guess what, guys? There is going to be a 33% discount coupon that is going to be in the description of this video, and you'll be seeing plenty of posts from me on Instagram, Facebook, and various other social media platforms along the course of this week. However, if you clicked on this video, it's because you want to know about vocal doubling effects, and that's what I'm going to tell you about right now. So I'm going to play this record for you, and right now I don't have any doubling effect on the lead vocal. We're going to give it a listen.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issues, people never actually care.
The bat, I have to say, personally, I don't mind very concentric center vocals. Personally, I come from maybe more of an old school mentality where one sound source, it's mono, and that's fine. I think for certain styles of music, that's definitely preferable, but here in this record, I do see a lot of merit to doing something that kind of makes the vocal go from dead center to kind of spreading it out across the stereo field. Now, how can we do that? Well, the way we create a difference in our stereo image to make something stereo as opposed to mono is by having a change from left to right. When we hear something as being mono, it's because the left speaker and the right speaker are playing the exact same thing at the exact same time. As soon as we change that, one speaker does something slightly different, then now we have a stereo picture. The most obvious example of this is panning. All that means is that the left or the right speaker is playing back the source a little bit louder than the other speaker. That creates a pan. However, there's a lot of different things that we can do. We can do micro timing shifts, and when we hear things at different times, that difference creates a stereo spread, or small pitch shifts that again create a different source so that the image now no longer sounds like it's one central image, it spreads out. Or we could do some combination of both. And basically all forms of vocal doublers, or doublers in general really, all forms of doublers are doing something to that effect. They are making small changes between the left and the right speaker that then create a stereo spread. Now, typically speaking, we want to blend this up under our vocal the same way that we would blend in something like a reverb. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up to my effects tracks, and I'm going to go over to this doubler here, and I've brought up 4 doublers that I typically use. Here we have the just stock DigiDesign ensemble plugin. It has a nice preset called 2 Singers. I use this all the time. It's like a 17 millisecond delay between sides, and if I bring it in, it goes from this.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issues,
I want to have a very focused spread. I want it to really kind of almost sound like there was multiple takes done. I find that this plugin works particularly well for that, and it's because it's using a pretty wide delay for a doubler. 18 milliseconds is, you know, pretty good stretch for a doubler, and it's using a fair degree of modulation as well, but it's still fairly controlled sounding. Now, if I want something that does not sound like 2 distinct different vocalists doing doubles, I would use something more like micro shifts here.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away.
Sounds more like a washy kind of a spread. It's relying a little bit more on pitch modulation than it's relying on time modulation. And so that creates something that feels like it's more like spread out. So certain sources are going to call for that. I would say in this particular record, right off the bat between the two, I would be more inclined to go with the micro shift. All right, now I'm going to pull up a third option. This one's a little bit less common, but this is using reverb effectively as a doubler. So this is the percussion air preset here on the Verb Suite Classic. There's a lot of different options, and you don't necessarily need to do this one, but I find that this one works really well because it has a certain brightness to it, which works. And you'll see that the decay here is only 360 milliseconds, so it's a very, very tight reverb. It's a tight reverb that has a distinct separation in the sides, the way that it's being generated. And I have the width control turned all the way up. Sometimes I'll play with the chorus control as well.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issue.
The three, this kind of has the most glue to the main vocal itself. It's the most connected. I still feel like the microshift is doing a better job on this particular record, mostly because the brightness I feel like is kind of working against me on this vocal. It's already a little bright to begin with. But it definitely works. It's got more of a sort of slightly comb filtery kind of metallic buzz to it too, which in low levels can actually add to the texture and can actually be really good for helping the ear find the spread. But again, here I think that it's a little bit too much. And this one is one that, as far as I know, is kind of something that I do that I don't think other engineers do, but maybe I'm wrong. So this is maybe just a matte technique, but obviously I feel like you guys can steal it. You can sort of reverse engineer this with like 2 mono tape emulators that are set with different amounts of wow. But here, this retro color, the RC20 retro color, which I really like as a plugin, it has this one module called wobble, and you can set it to stereo mode where it actually makes differences between the sides. And when you blend that in parallel, it creates this really interesting chorusing effect.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issues.
I feel like this gives me, the reason I like this and I'm partial to it is because it gives me the most connected sense to the original vocal while at the same time also having one of the widest spreads. So it's kind of like having your cake and eating it too. The only issue with this is that there's a very clear pitch flanging effect, that texture, that lasery kind of sound that's happening in the upper mids. It's very distinct. It sounds like flanging, and so if you don't have a record where that's going to make sense or work, this doesn't necessarily play. Now, how would I do this? I would find a level in which I just barely hear what it's doing. I don't want to necessarily hear the sound of a doubler pulled all the way up. I kind of want to hear just a little bit of it. So I'm going to tuck this down about 12 dB. That's usually a nice starting point, and see if I can just feel the vocal being spread across the stereo field, as opposed to necessarily hearing something that actually sounds like literally doubled voices.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice
and out of bypass, and you'll hear a little bit of that flangy quality show up because I have it maybe just a touch higher than I would probably mix it in normally, but I want to do that just for playback purposes and demonstration purposes.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issues, people never actually care. Eventually they walk away when it goes.
Try the other two and see what I like, or the other three, see what I like. Let's try the two voices one.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away. Anytime I voice my issues, people
I don't know if it's necessarily giving me as much. Let's try the microshift.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away.
Transparent one, it's not the widest, but it's definitely the subtlest. So I definitely like this one. Let's try the Verb Suite Classic.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like
really work for this vocal even when it's tucked in a little more subtly. And let's go back to the RC20.
I don't like speaking about my problems because I feel like I drive people away.
It's already set up to kind of feel effecty. I think that the RC20 is going to be the way to go. It has a smooth creaminess to it. That pitch modulation, I think, actually benefits the record, kind of works with it. But if I wasn't going to use that, if I wanted something more transparent, the micro shift is going to work for me on this one. But it varies from record to record, and I do encourage experimentation, as with any of my videos. Okay, guys, if you dig what I'm doing here on this channel, hit subscribe with the bell notification so you get notified if you like this video. Hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions about what I demonstrated, or if there's any ideas that you would like discussed, then hit the comment section below, or, you know, hit the comment section just to say hi. If you think that there's anybody who would benefit from this video, there's a share button too. There's so many things for you to do, and so many things for me to remember. Okay, and lastly, most importantly, we are musicians. Sound is our instrument. I will catch you next time.